It's a great day to talk hockey on HabsCast.
A great day indeed. Welcome back to HabsCast, another live one. They've been the internet's been cooperating so far, down in the dungeon here, as I call it. So we're gonna keep doing these till we run into some glitches. It's been ever since that first one, which was a kind of a disaster. Things have been pretty smooth. So uh, glad people are tuning in. Middle of the afternoon. I appreciate it. I just thought I'd get this out fairly quickly because the news that Kirby Dach is back in the lineup, and he is replacing Joshua Waugh to nobody's surprise, right? Um, Waugh, I didn't think Raw was too bad in the first period last night, but he was it wasn't very noticeable the last two periods, and probably in a large part due to the fact that um, he only got 8 or 9 minutes in playing time during the whole game. So it's um, nice to see Doc back in. I thought his game had really been coming along, and it was too bad that he had suffered a setback. I don't know if it was his knee. Here's hoping it wasn't. I don't have any info on that, but Doc back in the lineup is a good thing. He's you know the Canadiens need the strength down the middle, right? And I like the fact that he's back. It's funny, looking at the game last night and some of the stats here. Something that I noticed jumped out for me was that Alex Carrier. I don't know if it's the first time this season, but certainly one of the first times that he's played 21-20 in the game. Jaden Struble played 12:52 and Arbor 12:16. So I went back and had a look. I went back and had a look at Carrier's shifts, and as I suspected, as the game went on, he started playing more and more with Hudson, which I mean, in the scheme of things, I guess really since the start of the season, Carrier's been one of the four best defensemen on the Canadiens. So it does make sense that he would, even though Struble and Hudson have in the past worked very well together. I guess they saw some things from Struble that Robida mustn't have been too happy about a few things that were happening. So he decided that Carrier should start playing more with Hudson, and I guess that makes sense. I mean, what the issue that you would presumably have with that is two defensemen under 6 feet tall. Neither weighs a lot. I wouldn't call either of them overly physical, but they both compete like pound for pound. They're both very gritty. So I think maybe the thinking is, hey, what they may make lacking in size, they more than make up in competitive will, speed, smarts. Um, you know, I think Hudson's defensive game has just continued to evolve. He's getting better and better all the time in his own zone. So, yeah, putting him with Carrier, I think you'll see it more and more as time goes along here. And I don't have an issue with that necessarily. If Struble and Jacky are basically, the 6 and 7 defensemen when Gooley's healthy, then it likely makes sense that they play the least amount and are, kind of platooned a bit. Carrier played with everybody. Like on the penalty kill, him and Matheson were a steady pair. Um, two good steady defensemen for the most part. Matheson and Carrier were pretty strong as a pair. Yet you didn't really see them playing any 5-on-5 shifts. Matheson's regular partner has been Dobson, and that has stayed the same. But Carrier had shifts with Jack-Eye. He started the game with Jack-Eye and played on and off with him throughout the game. But as the game went on, he had a couple shifts with Struble too, but it was predominantly Hudson and Jack-Eye. So what actually, obviously what Robida is doing is getting basically double shifting Carrier at times and sort of, mix and matching and increasing his ice time, which makes complete sense given the fact that how good he's been playing. Like I've been noting that Carrier is one of the best third pairing defensemen in the league. If you got him on your third pairing, you've got a luxury. Well, he's best. I'm glad that he's getting by far the fourth most ice time among the defensemen, because he's one of the four best defensemen on the Canadiens most nights. So good for him. And I hope this stellar play continues. He's been really solid. I don't know if we've got I don't see any. I hope this is available on let's just see here. I don't see anybody weighing in, so I'm wondering if in fact we're going here. Yeah, we've got 132 on X. So anyway, I haven't seen anybody show up yet in the live chat. Okay, there we go. I guess most people, hey, it was short notice. I thought I'd try, I'd just test something with the Dach news. I wanted to come out with it with a podcast fairly quickly, sort of like current news to see. I think obviously the best bet is to give a few hours notice on when I'm going to be doing a live podcast. But I wanted to test this just to see if jumping on quickly when there's news to see whether that works. And apparently not. Pierre Gingras recharging for tonight. People are tired from last night. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, it's odd not to see anybody weighing in yet on Twitter. But as we go along here, I think more and more people will see the messages I left on Twitter and on Blue Sky, and we'll get. We're all ready up to 200 here, so glad you're joining us. Sorry about the short notice, but I thought I'd try something new here. So Dach in for a while. There's no surprise there. I hope they've got Dach playing with Bolduc again, and I guess Gallagher is staying with Gally is staying with Anderson and Evans, I believe. So I like the configurations of the lines. Are we going to finally see Demidov get some first power play time? I know we're yeah, that's right, Veleno. I don't know why I wasn't thinking of Veleno, but I thought Veleno was okay again last night. I like the configuration of those three on the line. There's good speed there with Bolduc and Veleno and Dach. Dach's defensive game so far this year has been better. I also haven't minded his speed either. 6'4" guys don't look like they're moving fast, but Kirby Dach, for his size, is an above average skater. He didn't always look that way last year, but I think that was predominantly because I don't think he was in the best of shape. But Bolduc, it was nice to see him. I think with him scoring that goal from the bumper on the power play last night, I would be surprised if he comes out. If it was somebody that they were going to move out of the top power play, it'd be Slav. Even though you know, I like, I think they need a Slav on the first power play. Like there's a, you know, he's not always going to be in on the points, but he had another good game last night. Set up Caulfield with a really nice play, set up Suzuki. Could easily have had 2 assists if Wolf wasn't standing on his head and if then damn crossbar wasn't in the way. But um, if the net was 4.5 feet high instead of 4, he'd have had a couple of assists last night. But um, Demidov, it just so clear when you saw it. You saw the goal in overtime when there's space, and I mean I saw it last year too. It was frustrating when you'd see him not on the power play at all in the KHL because this guy has uh, he's just so lethal when he's got space out there, and the other team's only got 3 or 4 players on the ice. Yeah, he that skating backward the way he did there to I think it was Coronado. I didn't stand a chance. He's trying to defend him, and he's kind of going like this, and Demidov just kept backing up till Matheson got to the scoring area, laid it on his stick, boom. I think Demidov, will be the highest scoring winger, playmaking winger since Lafleur. Once he gets rolling here, I think he'll have 60 plus assist seasons. Maybe 80 plus at times. He just the way he can control when he has the puck in the offensive zone. He's just so creative and so difficult to get the puck from. I do believe that, and then his vision and his playmaking abilities are just superb. We haven't seen the sniping yet to a certain extent, and that will come too, because as anyone that's watched any of his highlight videos from last year or the year before knows that he can also he can really snipe it too. So that will be coming, but like a lot of rookies, young players, you kind of defer. You're a little reluctant. You don't want to be. You want to fit in with your teammates, and best way of fitting in with a line mate and a teammate is passing them the puck. They like that. So he's been leaning towards more passing than shooting, and he's always going to be that way. I think that's just he's a very unselfish player, but I see a 60 plus assist player. Maybe not this year. This year might be a little soon, but by next year, he's when healthy, when he plays 80 plus games, I think he'll be getting 60 plus assists minimum. And Canadiens haven't had a winger with that playmaking productivity since a fella named the Flower. So Edmonton tonight, Montembeault in nets. That's not a surprise. I thought actually they go with him last night, but Marty impressing again. He went with the hot hand, which I think everyone agreed was probably the right move. You want Dobish to just keep developing his confidence here. When he's on a roll, ride him. When a goalie's hot, you got to play him. You have to. It just keep it rolling with the guy, And I'm glad, even though Monty's the de facto starter, goaltending, you got to go with the guy that's hot, because typically he's the one that's going to keep winning you games till until it changes. You ride him. So difficult situation perhaps for Monty tonight. McDavid hasn't really and Draisaitl really haven't got rolling yet. They're at home. There's a lot of pressure on Monty to come up with a big game tonight. And if he doesn't, Dobish could be get the bulk of the work for the foreseeable future. So Monty, there's a lot of pressure on him. I feel a bit for him going into tonight. He's a great kid. I know we're all being hard on him right now and all that, but I really like the man himself, and I'm pulling for him getting it straightened out here because the Canadiens need two goalies going if they want to be a true contender and be at the top of the standings. One goalie going isn't. We've seen it in the past too, right? Carey Price carrying the load, but when the backup go in and he couldn't win a game, those are. The backup has to win at least 50% of his games if you want to be at the very top of the standings. So tonight, they can move into first place. Is New Jersey playing tonight? I don't think so. They're probably not back to back again. Somebody can probably let me know here, but if they aren't and the Canadiens win, first place all alone in the Eastern Conference, that would be nice. It's been a long time since the Canadiens could lay claim to that. Other than maybe the first couple of games of a season or something when they had won. But it's very encouraging that the Canadiens are off to this start. And if they can win 3 out of 4 on this road trip, I don't know that they will, but winning the first one always helps. If they can, they will, come back home and be in really good shape heading into November. So tonight's game, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do a post game after tonight. I mean, if I get a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, I'll be here, Grant. If you can do one, I might consider it." But starting a podcast at noon East or midnight. Sorry, noon. I wish it was noon. At midnight Eastern might be asking a little much, but I've got, as promised, I've got some Zharovsky highlights here I want to show you. He played center today, and I thought he looked real good. We'll get to a couple of comments here. I think, last game I waited too long to look at comments, and then I just got overwhelmed. You're trying to go through and find some, and there was so many comments. And thank you so much for the comments that I couldn't get to them all. So maybe I'll read a few now, and then a little later after the Zharovsky highlights and such, I'll get to a few more. But what's Pierre have to say here? Well, that's the thing, Pierre. Wrong time to give Slav a demotion. His game is coming around. I'm not saying take him off the first line. Could still be on the first line and go on to the second power play. But yeah, as much as I want to see Demidov on the first power play, I mean, Bolduc scored, right? He showed last year he was one of the best goal scorers in the league in the last 30 games on the power play. I don't know. You can't take him off after scoring a goal on the power play. If you take Slav off, does it, is his nose bent out of shape? Maybe. But I'm not saying take him off the first power play and the first line. I'm saying, replace, let Demidov have a few shifts on the first power play. But what Marty's doing, by having Suzuki play the full 2 minutes on the power play, because we can already see that those two, Demidov and Suzuki, are starting to find some chemistry. And with Suzuki being on the second unit, they're getting some time together. And I noticed that Marty's at the end of a couple periods and stuff like that, throws Demidov out with Suzuki to see if they can't get a quick one. But I think the frustrating part is that, the first unit has been, they've been in the offensive zone and not scoring on a lot of their chances. But when you're in the offensive zone, you're not coming off, right? And Demidov on a lot of power plays isn't getting on till the last 25, 30 seconds or 15 seconds. And that's frustrating. If both power play units are getting a minute, then okay. I'm more fine with Demidov being on the second unit, but when you have a power play and a guy that friggin' skilled doesn't get out for till the last 15 seconds and nothing gets generated, then it just seems like such a waste of his talent. So I hope they can figure something out there where Demidov starts to get a few more looks with the man advantage, because he is just so skilled. As much as I like everybody, I like the configuration of the first power play unit. Demidov is special. So at some point here, they're gonna have to figure a way of getting him more power play time, I believe. But let's get to a few other comments if we can. LPB, I like there's some regulars here. I like thank you that some of you guys are faithful, and I really appreciate it. LPB being one of them, Pierre Gingras being another, of course. What do you think of Dach's skating strides? I heard Max Lapierre saying on a podcast he thinks he's too straight-legged. Oh, okay. I think he's a pretty good skater, to be honest with you, but maybe he is a little straight-legged. Maybe it, in part has to do with the knee injury that he suffered. But I find his skating this year is pretty decent, and especially for a big guy, he's he's covering a lot of turf out there, a lot of ice, and I haven't had an issue overall with his skating this year. But that's an interesting point, and I completely respect Max Lapierre and his viewpoints, and I'll keep a closer eye on that and get back to you regarding that. Thank you for the question. Oh, here's Don Downey. Thanks, Don. I don't recall getting a question from you before. Glad you could join us. In my opinion, I'd move Bolduc to the second power play and but I'd also put Bolduc on the Demidov line. Right. I don't disagree with those points. Those are sound. I have thought of it. I've thought of both, and certainly have suggested that Bolduc might be best served on the Demidov line. We're always, we always want the perfect recipe, right? The team's 6-1 in their last 7, and here we are calling for changes, right? They're 3-1 on the road, and yet, let's change her up. And but I don't necessarily disagree, but Newhook, Kapanen, and Demidov have looked pretty good together, and that makes it a little more difficult to. I think it's hard for Marty to change what's been a winning recipe at this point. I think Newhook got another assist last night, if I'm not mistaken. He'd be up to 4. Geez, he didn't get his 4th last year till what? Late January or something like that? Yeah. Alex Newhook last year on January 14th got his 3rd assist, and here it is, late October, he got his 4th assist this year. So, I've been happy. I've been impressed with Alex Newhook's play so far. And again, it isn't really broke. I don't think so. I don't think Marty's going to tinker with that. But yeah, eventually, I would like to see Bolduc playing with those two. I think maybe to a certain extent, Marty's kind of trying to balance things out a bit. I think Dach could use a big physical two-way winger, beside him, and that's Bolduc. And so he's trying to get duos here, right? That and trios that work well together. And hey, I can't argue with the lines right now. Until they start losing, then you'll see a lot more mixing and matching, I think. Yeah. Pierre, the fans love Mate. We just appreciate the play of Dobas. Pundits trying to stir shitter, showing they know a little sometimes. I guess that's sometimes, right, Pierre? Spam tomes sometimes. Yeah, I need spell check on my chat too sometimes. Yeah, I'm not sure what pundits you're talking to about, but I know, like, what Stefan Waite said the other night, I certainly didn't agree with. It's nothing personal. You go with the hot goalie. I mean, it's been that way forever, right? Do you think, like, it was nothing personal against Rogie Vachon in 1971 when Kenny Dryden came in from the farm team and started the playoffs with only 6 games of NHL experience, but it kind of turned out okay, right? So it's a business. These guys are well paid, they're making a few more bucks than we are, most of us anyway. So may the best man win, and no hard feelings, nothing personal. Monte's a good, he's a good guy, and I hope he bounces back. I'm not rooting against him. It's just Dovish has been lights out. He deserves the, he deserves the net right now, I think. Okay, let's get to Zharovsky, because it's pretty neat that he was playing on the at center today. Logged 15:38 in ice time. I like that, because he's been averaging less than 13 minutes. And believe it or not, Bob Trask, who's a great follow on Blue Sky, if you're on Blue Sky, he's also going to be doing some writing for me coming up again. He used to write for me when I had the Recruits website, and he's finally got his renovations done, and he's got time. He's going to start writing. Very good writer, and just he's retired and has a lot, he just lives and breathes Habs like a lot of us do, but very interesting perspectives. And he's going to start posting some articles on my Patreon page. So yet another reason for you to join my Patreon page. It's HabsCast on Patreon. You just type in Patreon HabsCast, you'll come to it. $5 a month, folks. I'm trying to make a living at this. If I promise you, the more people that sign up to Patreon, the more we can afford to get good writers in, contributing and developing it into absolutely best Habs Patreon site there is. But Zharovsky, he had said, Zharovsky is not getting as much ice time, or he's getting more ice time than Demidov last year. And I got thinking about it. and went back and studied the stats. And in all actuality, um, up until today's game, uh, Zharovsky had been averaging 13-18, I believe it was, in ice time. And last year, Demidov, for the complete season total, averaged 14 minutes. So almost a minute more per game than Zharovsky, surprisingly. So, there's been a few games where Zharovsky got benched too. It happens with every teenager in Russia playing in the KHL at some point or another. I mean, it's not easy to play at that level at 18 years of age, and the coaches tend to trust the veterans a bit more. But very encouraging that he was on the first power play today, played top three center role, and let's have a look at the. I managed to get a few clips of a few of his shifts there today. I was watching on hockey, so it's not the best, but I'm getting better at figuring out how to highlight the players and stuff. That's him there, obviously, that was behind the net. Now he's in front. Number 97, White, if you missed the highlighting that I did at the start. But you know what? I really like his competitiveness, and I think he looks comfortable at center. I mean, there's so many qualities to his game that tell you that he could be a center. Like puck control, he controls the puck. I mean, he's one of the best stick handlers in the KHL already, and he's a teenager. If anybody's seen any of the highlight reels from Zharovsky last year, he's a stick handling wizard, and he's already doing it at this level too. So here he is over on the left-hand wall. He just got the puck here now, but you notice here he's on the first power play, right? But his puck movements is great. His vision is great. Protects the puck so well at his age. I think his skating, it lacks some explosiveness at this point, but his edges, he keeps up fine, and especially on the back check throughout this game, I found that he back checked just fine. I don't know why. I thought I had edited this, but there's an extended. See how he tried to shoot. He was 4 for 8 in the face-off circle today, by the way, which again, 18 years old in the K, that's impressive just to be 50. But you notice first attempt there, he tried shooting. He tried to get a shot on net, So you got to love his confidence. He's just super confident to go into the KHL at that age. Look at that. He's basically running the power play, but his puck protection, again, he's got, he's 6'2", but you see him there. Look at the play he made, right? And then crashes the net. He just, he's so, a lot of Demidov type characteristics to his puck skills. Look at this play here. The old, going behind the net and then do a backhand pass, and it ends up in a goal, and he didn't. KHL's a little stingy with their assists. I thought he should have got one on that, but he didn't. But he deserved one. And look at that, he's like second in line, right? Usually it's the people that got points or thinks they got points that do that. But here's a replay of it. I like how he crashed the net there. He's not afraid to go to the dirty areas. But they show him going behind the net with it here. He's got the puck here now. Now look at this. He faked, he faked going one way. The defenseman froze. He started going around behind the net and then did the behind the back pass right to a teammate. Just so skillful. That's Demidov light at the very least, right? Another super skilled Russian to come here, folks. Look at the confidence to do that. I mean, Marty probably, check this out. He's got the puck right in front of his own net. 18 years of age in the KHL. I mean, if he did that, you know, Marty, he might get benched the next shift. But hey, you got to, you know, the coaches don't mind nearly as much if you get away with it, right? And he's just so shifty that, and so confident that he here he has the puck again, just wheels around the guy. You know, his skating is going to be more than fine. He's up like he's 6'2", 172. So it's all a matter of strength with him. His technique, his stride, his edges are all good. It's just he's weak, right? He's a friggin' teenager, and once he does put on that 20 pounds or so that he'll need for the NHL, he'll be ready, and he will be a fun addition to that Canadiens lineup. Boy, oh boy, he's not that far away from being on Montreal's second power play. Look at the back check here. I like it. He's, you know, the games that he has played at center this year, and that's I think his third or fourth. I've watched all of them. He's back checked. He's back checked diligently. I think he wants to play center, and the way he distributes the puck and his puck possession skills make him an ideal center. If his defensive game, you know, if he can round out his defensive game, show that he can. Here he is again. Nice shot, eh? He had 6 shots on net today, folks. So no points, but should have got a point on that goal. 6 shots on net in only 15 minutes, 4 for 8 in the face-off circle. Created offense throughout. Canadiens got another steal in the second round. Lane Hudson, Oliver Kapanen. Now we've got Alexander Zharovsky. 2 years' time, he'll be knocking on the door. He's got 1 more year in the KHL. Year after that, I don't know if he'll be ready right away. It might be a year in the AHL or a half a year, but with certainly by the following training camp, if he's not a regular, I think he's ready at that point. Another entry-level contract coming in, another guy with top 9 potential. It might be him and Hage fighting it out for 1 spot in the top 9 that year, and you know, it just a wealth of riches, both on the big club and coming. So, anyways, that's a look at Zharovsky at center. Hey, the more options you have, like Koivu's games really come along too. He looks like he's in the mix. So you got Hage, maybe Zharovsky, and Koivu, all, you know, saying, "Hey, I want to be that second line center someday." And right now, Kapanen saying, "That's my spot." So, love the competition. Love that there's options, and also, you know, I don't know if the Canadiens have had any say in this, or if they've been talking and say, you know, wouldn't mind if you played him at center. I don't know if there's any communication there at all. I don't know if, you know, Victor Kozlov's talking to Nick Bobrov or whatever, but I'm sure the Canadiens have no issue with Zharovsky playing at center, because it just adds another option, right? Potential option. And playing center, there's not a better way of developing your defensive game as a forward than playing center too. So even if he doesn't play center at the NHL level, it's only bettering his defensive game to be playing in that spot. Because if you can play center competently on the defensive end, then you're going to be above average defensively on the wing. So all good that they've got many options coming, you know, in the future at center. The more potential second line centers the Canadiens have, the better, because, you know, the best man may the best man win. And right now that's Kapanen. Could be Dach. There's also Dach's. Dach's also in there. He's only, 24? So there's 5 centers. 3 years from now, who knows which one will be the second line center. Right now, I'd give the edge to Kapanen, but I'm glad the more options you got, like I say, the better. And it also makes you wonder just how, you keep reading, well, they got to pick up a second line center. Well, maybe if Oliver Kapanen in February has 20, 25 goals and keeps playing the way he's been playing, and then you've got, and if Zharovsky keeps playing at center, if Hage keeps developing at center, if Koivu keeps developing at center, and they're all looking good, the Canadiens will be less inclined to really, to be desperate to pick up a center. They're not going to overpay at that point because they may have the answers in the system, right? On the team and in the system. And if Kirby Dach too, right? If Dach starts playing like a second line center, do they have to go get one? They may not, and that's good. If you can get the answer internally, that's always good. But again, if Sidney Crosby comes on the market, that's the that's the exception for me. And I know I talked about it last night, but you got to try your damnedest to get Sidney Crosby if the Penguins ever go that route and say, okay, we're trading Crosby. You don't want him going to another Eastern team, like a really good one, because that for me tilts the table, and I'd rather the table get tilted in Montreal's favor than another team's. So I really hope if the Pens fall out of the race and Sid finally says, okay, I'd like to go to a winner, I think he wouldn't mind playing in Montreal, and that also could work in their favor. And we'll see. Like if he says, well, I only, if you do trade me, I want it to only be, a handful of teams, then their bargaining power isn't as high either, right? And maybe the Canadiens don't have to give up the farm to get Crosby. But anyway, I hope one day to see Sidney Crosby wearing a Montreal Canadiens uniform. That Demidov, Crosby, Hudson, Suzuki, on and on. Like, wow, that would just what a powerhouse they could potentially have. So that's my take on Zharovsky. Oh, here's somebody with a question. Oh, we're up. We're going to hit 600. Excellent. Thanks, people. Frankie Daigle. Hey, Frankie. I don't think we've had a question from you before. Since we're winning and we see that Laine is not changing anything in the lineup, you think Kent is cooking a November trade? I don't know. I have a sneaking suspicion that Laine's, when they're seeking a second opinion, and I thought this even before that, like he really hurt his knee badly last year. Like it was torn. It wasn't just a sprain. There was a tear, and I think it was a pretty bad one. And he opted not to have surgery. Well, I have a feeling that there's something amiss with his knee again. And when you don't have surgery on a torn ligament and you re-injure it, it can, well, we saw last year with Dach, right? He was out again. He re-injured his knees. So I don't know. I've done the same thing. I had a torn meniscus and tore it worse, right? And so if he's out, I think he might be out for a while, maybe the rest of the year, maybe not. We'll see. But I have a feeling that they, if he is out, obviously they can't trade him in November, right? But who's going to Laine with no production, playing on the fourth line, $8.5 million to start the season. Who's going to want that, right? Who's going to trade for Laine right now? If his knee is okay, he comes back. It would be at the trade deadline that you'd be more apt to be able to trade him, because there won't be much salary left on his deal. But it's still 8.5 count towards the cap, right? It'd have to be a team with lots of space, and typically they're bottom feeders, and they're not looking, for Patrick Laine necessarily. I think it might be tough to find a partner for Laine. Certainly not right now, not November, not anytime soon, I don't think. Don had another comment there. Did you hear, Grant, that Laine is apparently seeking a second opinion? Oh, yeah. Yes, he is. And I think he could be out for a while. That's just my feeling, but it's just a feeling. Ulfman Olsen. Welcome, Ulfman. Glad to see some new names on here. No disrespect to Pierre and, all the other regulars, but it's nice that there are some other people weighing in and asking questions. It means that we're building a bigger community here, and the more the merrier. I welcome everybody, and thank you for tuning in. Ulfman Olsen might have some Swedish blood in you, Ulfman. It's so nice to finally have a team where we have choices on who gets to play on the second line in the first power play unit. So well said. Exactly. Remember when there was no argument, well, this guy should be on the first power play? It was more like, we need a guy for the first power play, let alone, say, oh, that guy's got to be on the first power play. Like, why isn't Rene Bourque on the first power play? You never heard that, that cry from anybody, right? So, times have changed. The times they are changing, as Bobby Dylan once said. You got to like it. Zharovsky at center solves a lot of problems for the Habs. Maybe we keep all our assets and wait for him in age. Unless Crosby shows up, of course. Yeah. Well, again, I think Kapanen ultimately is going to be a better center than Michael Hage at the NHL level. But again, that's my opinion, and we'll see. Like, the grass is always greener on the other side, right? The prospects are always going to be better, but Kapanen's 22 years old. He's probably one of the top 5 rookies or top 6 rookies in the NHL this season. Not many centers come in, kill penalties as rookies in the NHL, play top 3 center roles as rookies in the NHL, are on pace for 40 goals at center as rookie centers in the NHL. Let's just see how Kapanen keeps doing here. I'm not surprised by it, and I think it's going to keep happening. And people will finally, at some point, if Kapanen reaches what I think is his potential, by February, we're not going to be seeing this anymore. Kapanen third or fourth line center. It'll be, oh, okay, we've got a second line center right here. He's 22 years old. So don't forget, man, he's 2-3 years away from it, being at his peak. And he already looks comfortable in a second line center role when he's given the opportunity. So last night he played on the PK, on the power play, and with Demidov. So it's telling me that Marty St. Louis is seeing what I've seen for 3 years and likes him a lot. And Stay tuned. We'll see. But I think Kapanen, you know, the prospect always, you always think, oh, well, it'll be the prospect that's like I can remember when, oh, well, wait till Ryan Poehling comes in to replace such and such as the second line center, right? Ryan Poehling was going to be better. Well, you know, doesn't always go that way. Caden Primo was going to be a starter when he was so good in college. You know, it, it, we'll see how it weighs out. But right now, right here, right now, Kapanen is on the team and he's playing very well. So to think, oh well, Page has got to be better. Maybe he's not. He can't hold a candle to Kapanen away from the puck, and that is so important for a center. You know, it's not all about points. It's not all about fancy stick handling in the offensive zone. It's not all about scoring a pretty goal against Mercyhurst or, you know, some second-rate college team. It's, you know, what how do you play all around in all zones without the puck against NHL players? And Kapanen is doing it now. So time will tell, but everyone assuming that Page is going to be a better center than Oliver Kapanen, it all it is right now is wishful thinking. It's not based in reality. It's a hope, right? We'll see, but um, Michael Hage, I think, will be a winger in the NHL. Um, you know, there's some, and that's fine too if that's what ends up happening with him, right? But um, we'll get a better idea at the World Juniors. I think if he's playing center there and he plays very well, then I might change my opinion a little bit. But that will be a good litmus test for him as far as I think his potential future as the 2C in Montreal. And Zharovsky, well, hey, a couple of games in the KHL at center, again, he looks good, but second line centers on NHL Stanley Cup winners. I know I bring this up quite often, but Anthony Cirelli, Anthony Cirelli, Chandler Stevenson, Sam Bennett, Braden Shen. What's the one thing that they all have in common? Good defensively, good away from the puck. None are high point producers. They protect the Stamkoses on their wings. They protect the the guys, the offensive guys that play on their line. They do all of the dirty work. They do, they come back and defend in front of their own net against top two centers in the NHL, which is so important, right? So anyway, we'll keep revisiting this, but when I keep reading all the time, and it comes from media too, it's not just fans, and I think it's in part that's why so many fans keep bringing it up, because the media, wait till Hage is our second line center, or maybe Zharovsky will be, or the future is so unpredictable. All I know is that right here, right now, Kapanen's doing the job, and he's only 22. 3 years from now, will Hage be a better center than Oliver Kapanen? He'll have to really develop his game to do that, because I think Kapanen will only be better too, right? Steven Grant, do you think that Kadri would be a good short-term? I brought it up last night, Steve, on the podcast. You mean the guy that was flipping and flopping and always, now he's woe is me. He's always whining, complaining to the refs. Do I think 34 years old, 3 years left, big contract. Not sure about his fit in the Habs dressing room. Kapanen outplayed him last night. They were head to head. He's 22. This guy's 34. 3 years left on his deal at what, 5 times the price of Kapanen? No, I guess I've kind of answered your question I don't. I say no to Kadri. I know a lot of people keep bringing him up, and no, no. He can go back to Toronto. That's another hot rumor all the time. He'd be fine in Toronto, I think. Um, Pierre mentioned an awesome shift right there. Will work in the NHL every time. Yeah, he looked good, didn't he? Zharovsky really, really looks good. Snake doesn't think Koivu will be an NHL player. Well, if Snake says it, then it's gospel, right? I'll ask Snake about that when he's on with me next Wednesday. By the way, for those of you that don't know, Simon Snake Boisvert will be on Le Serpent. Will be on next Wednesday on HabsCast. Hope you can catch that one. We'll have some dandy topics. Snake has said that about a lot of Habs players. Logan Mailloux is never going to play in the NHL. Hudson's a gadget player. Caulfield's a one-trick pony. Kapanen's only a fourth liner. So we'll see. We'll see. He likes to, he gets a lot of followers, and a lot of people think, oh, well, they respect that he doesn't just. I mean, I'm a little more optimistic about Habs prospects. I'll be the first to admit it, but I also try not to say that they won't be this or they won't be that, because you really don't. You can't necessarily predict that stuff, especially when they're 18, 19 years of age. Like I realize that, me talking about Hage not being a second line center goes against that to a certain degree, but yeah, I try not to say like a guy won't play in the NHL, because that's a broad statement, especially players in Europe that you don't really see a whole lot. Time will tell on Koivu. I mean, he's a third round pick, and the Canadiens, the Canadiens are loaded. So, do I think he's going to be in the Montreal's lineup the next couple of years? No, but I've also seen a huge improvement from him in the last year. So, last year, if Snake had said this, I'd have been more inclined to say, you know what, he's probably right. But having watched him, or not, necessarily right, but he may be right. But but the improvement that I've seen from him in the last year tells me a lot better chance that he could be in the NHL at some point than I would have said a year ago. He's got NHL size, skating combo. He's got an NHL shot. His smarts and his defensive game have come along. He's a lot more competitive than he was a year ago, and I think partly because he was so he had mono, right, and that set him back. And last year, yeah, it was kind of a lost year for him, really. We'll see this year, right? Probably World Juniors. I would think he'll have a big role for Finland, and we'll get a better idea. Get back to me after the World Juniors on whether I still agree or disagree with Snake's projection on him. Eric, Grant, do you think Dach is on the wing tonight with Veleno at center? Let him slowly get in the game. Hey, that's a good point. I think they'll take turns in the face-off dot, right? Dach on the wing, on his strong side. Veleno will take the draws and stuff. That's a good question. I don't know what Marty's thinking, but it's a possibility. You know, I would I would consider that, but we'll see what Marty has to say tonight. I'm fine with either one. Like Doc, he ultimately wants Doc to be a center, right? So I would suspect that Doc will be centering that line. Maybe not on face-offs, but after. Michkov seems to be having a problem with Tocchet. Did Nick advise Kent and Jeff? Because this was the tagline on Michkov. Oh, well, I mean, Nick and Marty make the picks, right? So it's not like Jeff is making the Jeff Molson's making the draft pick. It's the guys that go and scout. You get hired to do a job, you do that job. The other guys don't butt their nose in. Kent maybe saw some first round guys and he'll weigh in on it, but ultimately you leave that up to your head scouts, your directors of amateur scouting. They make the choices, right? So yeah. Michkov, I said it in his draft year, and I still feel it, and I get a Nail Yakupov vibe to a certain degree. Yakupov was what, 5th in Calder voting in his draft year, and he just kind of went down from there because he never did develop his defensive game, and that's always been a knock on Michkov. He's dynamic in the offensive zone, but his speed, like I talked to scouts and said, he needed to get faster and work on his speed in the off season. And it was kind of the opposite from what I hear, that he actually showed up a little out of shape and, spent a lot of time on the bike trying to lose those few extra pounds that he put on in the summer. That doesn't surprise me. I don't think his character is high end, and you can't just get by on talent at the NHL level. Neil Yakupov found that out, and too late. Will Michkov have a similar career to Yakupov? I'm not putting it out of the possibilities here. To his he got stuck with Tortorella and Tocchet as his first two coaches, right? And not perfect for Michkov having those two as his coach, right? Because Tortorella wants you to be good away from the puck, and Tocchet's the exact same way. And Tocchet, let's not forget, I don't know that he really has a affinity for Russian players to begin with. If you look at, Kuzmenko had 39 goals with Vancouver with Boudreau, and Tocchet comes in and, he's benching him. They got rid of him within a year, right? Kuzmenko. Colson was a top 10 draft pick and could never get a fair shake under Tocchet. And now he's playing on the top line at times in Edmonton. He's playing with Draisaitl and McDavid now. So I don't know that Tocchet, is a Russian lover by any stretch of the imagination. And he certainly wants you working hard and doesn't want you showing up camp out of shape. So was I surprised? Like, I watched some Michkov here, and he needs to get a little quicker, and he needs to work harder away from the puck. It was a glaring thing in his draft year when I watched him in the KHL. I didn't. I had him 5th ranked and didn't think. I thought that there were some issues there, and I got some Yakupov vibes from him. And right now, he's already been benched by Tocchet. He's 2 points in 6 games or something like that, which isn't a great start for him. He's got to figure some things out, but he's awfully smart. He's skilled. He can score goals. He can get points. He'll get points on the power play. Will he ever be an above average 5-on-5 player? There's work to do, and he's going to have to figure that out. And that's a question mark. So, yeah, stay tuned with Michkov. It could end up being a soap opera there in Philly. Let's get a few more questions. We're close to we're over an hour here, folks. So I got to get going here shortly. Second opinion means serious business. He's gone. Probably. Probably should have had the surgery. Francois, hey, thanks for weighing in, Francois. But you're right, Grant. If Canadiens overpay for second line center, it needs to be for a superstar, Crosby, etc., or else we go internally. Yeah, I think so. That's kind of my viewpoint on it. Unless you can swing some kind of a magical deal. Yeah, I agree. You know what? Kadri would be expensive, and he's just not who I'd go with. Laine was a big reason. Yeah, well, was a big reason Montreal was in the playoffs. Nobody should be mad he was acquired. He did what he was supposed to do. Why would you be mad he was acquired? They got a second-round pick. They gave up Jordan Harris, who didn't have a spot on the club, and got Laine in a second-round draft pick. No, he scored, led the NHL in power play goals per game. Yeah, look at Montreal's record before Laine came in the lineup and after. He definitely, Carrier and Laine additions were what changed the season around for the Canadiens, whether you agree. And then Dobish's first 5 games. Those 3 factors are what swung the pendulum, in Montreal's favor. So yeah, there's no regrets. And it's not like, they're over the cap. They've got all these young players on the ELCs, and they managed it just fine. There's all sorts of talent on this team, right? Laine's acquisition didn't cost anything. If anything, they actually got something else back as well. So it'd be like complaining about Monahan deal or something, like, oh, we overpaid for Monahan. It's nice to get that first round pick. And Montreal has shown, like, what if the second round pick, Montreal's shown that they're pretty good at landing gems in the second round. Sheldon, the Jets always had problems finding line mates for Laine. He didn't have chemistry with Johnny Hockey. That speaks volumes. Yeah. Victor Joseph. Hello, Victor. Let's hope Dach will recover, for this could be his last season in Montreal. I can't argue with that, Victor. Appreciate you joining the club. It's the 700 club. I see we just got up to 700 people here. That's pretty cool. Steven, Ryan Poehling scored a hat trick in his first game, didn't help the bandwagon crowd. Yeah, he was going to be next superstar, right? Hat trick and the game winner in the shootout, don't forget. Like, that close to being as good as Matthews' NHL debut. I remember interviewing him in the off season that year and saying, so how's it feel to be averaging 3 points per game for your career? Right? He was like, he only played 1 game and he had 3 goals. 3 goals per game average for his career at that point was pretty impressive, but I think it hurt him. You have to be dedicated as hell in the off season when you're that age, and may have rested on his laurels a little bit and thought, this game is easy. Like Boom Boom Jeffrey. Oh, you ever that old Miller Lite commercial? This game is easy. When what rock band? And he goes, who? That's right. You got it right. Anyone else remember that old commercial? That was one of the funniest beer commercials I ever saw with Boom Boom Jeffrey. Oh, rest in peace, Boom Boom. But he might have thought that the game was easy at that point. Didn't have a terrific off-season training, and the rest was history. Came back and he wasn't the talk of the town after all. Victor Demidov should play on the first power play. He moves the puck around like Slav, does not move the puck like Demidov. Yeah, well, yeah, he moves the puck better than Slav, although Slav, I think, is a very good puck mover. But Slav also does some other things that make him valuable. He doesn't always get on the score sheet. But yeah, he the net front presence, his work along the wall, a lot of things he does, protects the puck so well. I like Slav on the power play till further notice. Kapanen 44.4, yeah, that's pretty good. It's such a small sample size the start of the year. Any 22-year-old rookie in the NHL that's anywhere near 45% in faceoffs is more than fine. Trust me on that. Last night he lost a couple more than he won, so his average came down a bit. You'll see it fluctuate up and down, the first 10 games of a year, because one good, if he wins 65% of his draws, 70% next game, he's up over 50. So yeah, I have no issue with Kapanen at 44.4% as a rookie NHL center. I think that's a hell of a lot better than Newhook and Dach in their first couple of seasons. So it bodes well as far as I'm concerned. Suzuki was a 44% face-off guy when he first came into the NHL. He wasn't above 45%. He was below it predominantly. So, and look at him now, right? Even Jake Evans. Jake Evans was not look at just about any center's face-off stats in their rookie year. Very few were over 50%. Very few. There's the odd exception. Bergeron was probably better, but it's an acquired art, safe to say. Now we'll get a few more here, folks, but I gotta go have some supper here pretty soon. Filterless Bear. Hello, Filterless Bear. Florian will be a huge ad at playoff time. Yeah. Here's hoping that he keeps developing. I'd like to see a 30-goal year out of him this year. Maybe like one more step up in offensive. Maybe fight a bit more. I think he only had 4 fights last year, believe it or not. So a few more scraps, a few more goals. Earn your spot in the lineup for come playoff time. Johnny Golden. I hope Monty snaps out of his slow start. I think he will. Yeah, we all think that. Hope that. Monty's a good guy. Somebody mentioned the other day, he's overweight. Monty's always had the double chin thing. I've seen there'll be a picture of him. You see the double chin and, but no, and then the shirt off and very little fat. He's just one of those guys that's got a double chin. I don't think it necessarily means he's overweight. I don't think that's the case with Monty. Looks can be deceiving sometimes when you just go by what you see a face, right? Everyone's got different has different physical features. Is it 4 years at $7 million for Kadri? No, my goodness. So 7 times, he's making 7 or 8 times what Kapanen is. Pass. Yeah, Florian's another center. I was mentioning guys that I think are in the running for the top two. Florian Xhekaj is never going to be a second line center. I don't think that's not going to be his role in the NHL. Yeah, I mean, I can mention Hayden Papanicus too, right? He's definitely in the running for a bottom two center role down the line, but in fact, he's even in the second line center discussion. But no, I was talking about guys with legitimate upside to be number two centers in the NHL. But yeah, certainly Florian's another guy that could be a center for the Canadiens and a better fit than some of the guys I mentioned to play. Like Michael Hage isn't going to be a fourth line center in the NHL, I don't think. Florian's a lot better option in that, for that regard. Snake does not like Koivu at all and sees Kapanen as a fourth line center at best. Well, yeah, it should be a dandy. Hope you can tune in. Me and Snake Wednesday. I don't know if it'll be live or not. Might have to record it. Just things might get a little. No, we'll see. I don't know if I'll be if that one will be live or not. Depend. Demidov still has to play 31 teams once he does that. His knowledge of those teams will be better also. Yeah. And their knowledge of him will also be better. It kind of works two ways, but that's a good point. Okay. Oh, we got another. Granted, what are your thoughts? Oh, hey, people asking me questions. I like it. What are your thoughts on Engstrom and Laval? Could he crack the Habs maybe 60 in the future, or does he lack the toughness? Yeah. You got to like Engstrom. I think Engstrom will play in the NHL. I don't know if it'll be with Montreal or not. The thing with the Canadiens is that they have a lot of they already have a lot of mobile, skilled defensemen, and I think you need a mix. And I don't know that Engstrom necessarily fits in well with that group in terms of what they probably need in the bottom two, bottom six type scenario. It's just they're just so strong on the left side, right? I think he's a good trading asset for them. I believe that sometime in the next year, he'll be part of a package. Will it be for Crosby? I don't know, but something like that, where the Canadiens try to get that important piece to really become contenders. I could see Engstrom being, and not because because it'll be because the other team wants him, right, and thinks they have a spot for him. But the Canadiens, Hudson, Gooley, he's not beating out either of those guys. They've got Struble, they got Xhekaj to play third line to balance out the lineup, right? They've got Pickford coming. He's right defenseman, but they've got lots of guys in the pipeline too, and Matheson, if he resigns, where's the spot, right? Matheson, Gooley, Hudson. Once Hudson's moving back to the left side, once Reinbacher's in the lineup, that'll be within a year. There's no spot for Engstrom, as much as you got to be impressed by his skating ability and all that. It's unless Struble and Xhekaj get traded, but then where's your toughness? So I don't know. I don't see a fit for as much as I like Engstrom, I don't think he's going to be a regular in Montreal's lineup. It's just the numbers game when it comes to Engstrom. This is so much fun, guys. I just I'm gonna get heck from the wife for going on too long, but hey, I'd like for Canadiens to have an elite defensive center with some offensive edge. Yeah, his name is Oliver Kapanen. Good idea. Did I have a falling out with sick media? What's it matter? I've got my own. People are always asking me that question. Like, move on. I did. It's all good. I had more potential striking out on my own. Just like that's like George Harrison being asked, how come you're not still with the Beatles? Did you have a falling out? Whatever. Did you not like All Things Must Pass, my triple album? Move on, enjoy. Let's have fun this year. Let's not dwell on the past. No use looking in the rearview mirror. But I appreciate you asking it. Just I get asked it a lot, and Eric Macramal, fantastic. Liam McGuire, fantastic. Rick Springhetti, fantastic. Etienne Lepat, all great guys. I'm going to be doing shows with Snake, just me and Snake. I've got other, I'm lining up some other people that are going to be regular guests. Hey, this is fantastic, right? I'm really looking forward to building this and building my own network. Liam McGuire's he's going to be interviewing Brian Scrudlin coming up. If I'd have stayed with Sick Podcast, I wouldn't have got Liam doing his own podcast and also coming on mine. And he's a gem, by the way. And he's going to be interviewing Chris Nyland coming up, Brian Scrudlin, Ivan Cornway when he can get it arranged. None of this would have happened if I had stayed with Sick. So I'm just ecstatic that I'm getting the support I'm getting, and I've moved on, and I hope other people can stop wondering why I'm not with my old partner. It's like you'd be asked, are you not still with the same woman, or why aren't you? You don't really want to get asked that question. Michkov in a car accident with minors in Dubai. Imagine Demidov doing that. I'm not sure what that means, but I guess I missed that news story. What's him being with minors? I don't. Anyway. Pierre, even now, Cap is physically solid. Just imagine what he could be. Yeah, he's still got some muscle to put on there yet. He's let's see here. We got any other Craig? Okay, where's Craig? Craig, can you answer this? Wherever, Craig. Oh, Craig left the building. Maybe he's gone to join the Sick Podcast Network. Just wanted to put it out there. I am an IT professional, and if I ever offer you technical support. Okay. Is that a backhanded compliment? No, I appreciate it, Mark. That's the type of thing, you can always send me an email or whatever. Grant at HabsCast.ca. Send me a note, Mark. I'm sorry Grant called you Craig. So sorry. It's all good, Mark. Yeah. Yeah, I could probably, any improvements I can make to this podcast, I'm all ears, actually. And I appreciate you offering to help, Mark. People should be thrilled with Slav so far. I agree. There's people look at the point totals and they don't watch the player, and if they see him turn over the puck once and look at his stats, oh, no assists. Slav should have 7 assists this year. I could I could put together a highlight film of him making passes that created golden scoring opportunities, and there's probably 15 of them, and not one of them have been converted. So I'm not worried about Slav at all. He's tripled his goal output from last year at this time. He should have 5 assists, but he doesn't. Just you know, um, hot goaltending or bad luck or what have you. If he wasn't making plays and creating and playing well defensively and competing, I'd have an issue, but he's doing all those things. So, no, I've been quite happy with Slav so far this year. Best start to a season that Slav has had, in my opinion, and it's not even close. Yeah. Eriksson Ek took, go look at his stats. Eriksson Ek took till he was 25 to be a decent, a productive NHL center. He's, great album. Yeah, wasn't it? Thanks, Sheldon. Debonair. Oh, this probably came after my little rant there. Yeah. Thank you. We're having fun, guys. Well, look, I think we exhausted this. I've been at it almost an hour and a half. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate you coming on again. I don't think I'm going to do one at midnight tonight. This will have to suffice for today. We'll do a post game wrap on the Edmonton game tomorrow morning at some point, maybe live early or maybe at lunchtime tomorrow. I'll get somebody on with me and we'll talk about the Oilers game, unless it's just an amazing win again tonight and I'm full of adrenaline. I'll let you guys know. Short notice again around midnight if I do change my mind, but I don't think I'll be doing a post gamer at midnight tonight. Turn into a pumpkin. Okay, guys. And hopefully a couple of girls. I don't see a lot of female names here, but maybe LPB is. Who knows? See you at midnight, Grant. So a few of you will show up if I. Okay, well, that's that's fair. If the Habs, I don't know, if Demidov scores a hat trick or something, I'll come on at midnight and we'll whoop it up for a bit. Okay. All right. That's it for today. Go Habs, go. Thanks for coming out again. Have a good night.